third one is to maintain a clear. Is it maintain a clear mind? And the last one is to abandon everything. You don't take it. So I just want to ask how we can transit from the second stage to the third one.
The third stage is the awakenedness of mind. That means the mind is awakened from the delusion of ego. It doesn't regard itself as the body or the mind. So that is to separate the knower and the known. Separate the knower from the objects. Now we need to understand that this knower is not everything that it knows, and even this knower itself is not us. It's not self. So this is the third stage. When the mind is cleaned, when the mind is peaceful, then we try to separate the knowing and the known, separate the five khandhas. This is an important step from the second to third.
Yeah.
Okay. And after we separate the the knowing and the known, then we can simply observe everything with the perspective of impermanent sufferings and non-self. Then until the mind it let go everything. It's the mind let go, not us. So we just provide the reality for the mind to understand and to let go the desires. Okay.
Okay. That means on the third stage, we need to know the feelings, to know the aversion, to know everything, just to keep it separate and
just to know them. To separate the knower and let the knower be independent and not identify with anything as itself. So the knower just be pure consciousness.
Thank you.
And in Chinese, if we simplify it into 4 words, then it'll be easier. The first stage is to be the simplicity. The second is the cleanliness. The third is the awakeness. The fourth is let go. So in Chinese, you can say the Gan Gi Ming Liu. So it's easy to remember, right?
Thank you, Ajahn.
Number 11, 12, 13, and 14. Where are you now?
Hello, Ajahn. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
你哋喺邊啊
？Same hotspot. In the temple.
係。下班嚟啊
Yeah. Another good position.
Good view, good view. Okay, and you don't need to wear masks. It's illegal. Now we are recording. And we have a doctor here.
Sorry, actually we are in Thailand.
Then you are lying, huh?
The sentence is not complete. We are in a monastery. Thai monastery.
OK 你今日行山啊？玩啊？
共爭啊，仲係寺院範圍嚟㗎呢度。
哦。
Yeah, still inside the monastery area. Yeah.
Okay, so it's time to start our meditation today.
So before we start, shall we? Yeah, let's bow all together 3 times as usual to the triple gems. Ajali, Vandana, Abhivandana. Ajali, Vandana, Abhivandana. Ajali, Vandana, Abhivandana. Ajali, Vandana. So morning everyone. Let us thank Ajahn Yiu ahead for the precious time, Michi Fafa as well as Freddie and everyone else who make this happen. And as usual, let me remind everyone once again that we're recording this meeting and we're going to share it on YouTube a bit later. So if you got anything too private to discuss openly, so you could stay behind to have a more personal chat with Ajahn after this. So so that's it. So please, Ajahn.
Okay, so we adjust our body posture, make it upright and comfortable. Keep the middle axis of the body straight, supporting the whole body like a pillar. You can imagine there's a string pulling your head upward, and the rest of the body just let it relax, sink down, touching the ground, like a piece of cloth hanging on that pillar. So we begin with knowing the whole body and let the body breathe itself. Try to switch our perspective from being a master to be a humble knower. We just say knower, just an observer to this body, breathing body. Such switch of perspective is very important. It is a reminder to our mind the right view of non-self, and the body is actually not belong to us. It is just a group of elements. It's nothing different from the nature. And our whole practice of Buddhism is to let go this delusion of ego step by step. Observing the precepts, practicing samadhi, and cultivating wisdom. These are all serving for this purpose, to let go the ego, to realize that actually this ego is simply a delusion, a concept. But what actually exists are just elements. Just let the body sitting here and breathe itself. Relax the whole body, your muscles, joints. And you try to notice this happening as a humble, tiny knower. because usually we are knowing this person as a master. We think that we are the master, the house owner of this body and mind. But now, first of all, we just let go this title. We are no longer also called the house owner. Surrender to the nature. Just keep knowing the whole body, knowing the body as a whole, and keep yourself non-disturbing. Just know the present breath, and the present flowing of breathing, and keep yourself non-disturbing, non-doing. Knowing is not a kind of doing, but once you have any desires to change something or to be something, then that is kind of doing. This first step is to set up the right view and try to keep it in our whole meditation. With knowing this person as a whole, from the perspective of a humble knower. Actually, relaxation is not a kind of action or doing. It's kind of giving up doing. If our muscles are tight, that means we are applying force. And relaxation is not to do something, but just to give up this force. Then relaxation will happen itself. So this is the attitude that we are using in our meditation. The tightness of the brain, the tightness of the emotion, tightness of the mind. These are something unnatural. These are doings. And if we can simply give up the doing, if the mind is non-doing, then peacefulness and balance will be naturally there. So keep the breathing as the background of your meditation. It's the background of the whole universe. We don't need to look for the breathing. We are already inside the breathing. It is everywhere. It is the background. Just like when you are doing something at home and you have background music there, you don't need to look for the background music. It is always there. No matter what you are doing, the background music is there. So in the same way, we put the breathing as the background. And now our work is to give up doing, is to relax. After we give the advice to this body to relax, and then we try to go somewhere deeper, more subtle in the body, and that is the brain, the center of our nervous system. And here, Here is an important area influencing some of our subtle tension in the body. It's all about nerves, and the brain is the center of the whole system. Even our muscles are relaxed, but it doesn't mean that the nerves are relaxed already. And we'll still feel some subtle vibration in this body, subtle vibration of energy, or the activities of the nerves. So with the breathing in and out, relax the brain. Pay a gentle attention to the brain. And you can imagine that every breath you take is just like a stream of light go into the brain. It is cool, it is refreshing. Relax the brain as a whole. And also relax the area connecting to the brain, like the area around the eyes. So you can imagine that every breath you take forms a cool stream of light and gently go into the brain everywhere inside the brain. And the brain can be recharged and relaxed in this light. Just let your brain completely take a rest in this light. Meditation requires knowing, but knowing is not necessary depending on the functioning of the brain. It's the mind knows. It's a knowing from the mental level, not from the sensual level. Just like having a sleep in the breeze of summer. It's comfortable, it's secured. And let the brain slowly cool down, slow down, and shut down. This is an antidote against agitation. Agitation is the overactivity of the nerves. And the antidote against agitation, restlessness, is stillness, is taking a rest. And usually our sleepiness is a result of this restlessness. Even we are sleepy, but the brain is still running. And when the brain cannot stop, then it just keep continuously draining our energy and make us even more tired. So when we can stop the agitation in the brain, then the energy will be gradually accumulate. Restlessness is the first enemy of our meditation. Usually when we start to meditate, the first enemy that we face is restlessness. Because this is a normal state in our daily life. When we are talking, we are living our daily life. Usually we are not mindful. Our mind is always scattered. And this will form a habitual force and extend into our meditation. So we need to cool it down, slow it down, and we gain the mental energy do it in relaxation. With every breath we take, the cooling light to do it in relaxation means that we are not ordering the brain to stop as a master. We are giving a humble advice to the brain to relax, to take rest, and keep our hands off. Don't disturb this brain. And it's just like a cup of water, and it takes time to settle down all the dirty stuff. So we need to be just keep our awareness and be patient. Keeping the awareness is to prevent our unconscious disturbing the brain. And be patient is to continue our efforts until the change happens. So actually it is the nature cooling down your mind, your brain, and not you. It is not by your efforts then your mind becomes peaceful. But on the opposite, you're giving up your effort so that the nature can make your mind peaceful. This effort means the effort of the defilement, the effort from the greed, aversion, and delusion. Because we are so conditioned, so familiar with such kind of controlling, disturbing our mind with the defilement. Once we are not aware, once we are not mindful, then we are doing. We are making ourselves to become unpeaceful. So just keep the knowing moment by moment and keep yourself non-doing. Don't disturb this brain, but simply give an advice to it. Relax. stay awake and patient. For some people, if you are very tired, and you may need to take a longer time in this stage. But usually we don't need to pay too much time staying with the relaxation of brain like this. We simply give it an advice, just like what we have done in the process of relaxing the whole body. We just set the body in the right posture and leave it there and let it relax itself. And in the same way, we just give the advice to this brain and just put it aside. Let it relax itself. And now we move to another position of the body at the center of the chest. This is the center of our emotions, of our wants. Try to feel this area, identify this area. Where is it? This is the place when we have some strong emotions, then we usually feel a sensation of tightness in this area. It is at the middle of the chest. Sometimes we are very angry or very scared or a strong emotion of passion. We have a feeling tightness and action or energy from this area. And this is the center of emotions, the center of motivations. Feel this area. If we have some unsolved emotional conflict, fixations, then we'll find a sensation in this area, tightness, heaviness. Just open it. Let this area open like a lotus. The lotus open in the breeze of summer. That is our breathing. No matter what it is in this lotus, just leave it open, completely open, without boundary. We don't need to keep it as ours. Just open it and let it return to the nature. And it is the nature balancing your emotions, not we. We cannot simply control the emotion conflicts to be disappeared. But we just can open it and let the nature balance the unsolved conflicts. Just like a house has been closed for many days, and there are a lot of bad smells in the house. So the way to clear all these smells, we just need to open all the doors and the windows, and just leave it there. The wind from the nature will balance and clean all the bad smells inside. So that is what we are doing. Those emotional stress inside this area, it's just like the bad smells. We just leave it open and be patient. Keep knowing and patient. So now we have adjust the brain and the heart. Just keep it in this state. Keep the brain resting and keep the heart open. And just simply know the present breathing and be patient. Every breath we take, relax the brain and open the heart, bring all the bad smells away. And this is how the nature works inside us. We are just a humble knower. Such relaxation skills, if we keep on practice, and we'll be more and more skillful on this, and they will be more effective with practice through the relaxation of the body and brings the relaxation to the mind. Just keep knowing and patient and let the body and mind settle down itself. Just like looking at a glass of water and waiting for it to settle down. And what we need to do is just simply know, nothing more than this. Just know the present in relaxation. And breathing is the sign of reference for our knowing. It is to keep the mind present. Practicing meditation is just like a daily cleaning job for our mental health. If we want to live happier, with a better mood, with sharper knowing, then we can add the practice of meditation as part of our daily life. It is very important. The priority is very high. What else is more important than the happiness of the mind? Usually we think that happiness happens in the senses, and that's what ordinary people are doing every day. They are trying to chase happiness from the senses. And the sense of pleasure actually built on sense of cravings. If we have cravings towards something, then we'll be more satisfied when we can have it. Like if we like to eat sushi, then when we can have sushi, actually, we will be more satisfied. But if we don't have craving towards sushi, then we are not satisfied. And that is how we understand towards the word happiness, a satisfaction of the senses, fulfillment of sensual cravings. But actually, once we have craving, then the mind is suffering. The mind is in lack. And when we can actually have the sensual object, this sense of in lack is disappeared, is fulfilled. And we regard such decrease of suffering as happiness. But actually, the mind gains nothing from the beginning to the ending. We create an emptiness in the mind, and we try to fill up the emptiness with the sensual objects. The mind gains nothing. It is just the creation of suffering and the absence of suffering. It's not happiness. But the real happiness happens in the mind. If we are aware to the mind, then we'll find that the mind is always trapped in the defilement, greed, aversion, and delusion. The mind is heavily burdened all the time. And if we can sometimes give up these burdens, then the mind will feel a sense of liberation, sense of at ease. And this is the happiness of the mind. And in the meditation, if we can temporarily pacify our body and mental activities, and then we can sense such kind of liberation, temporal relief from the burdens of defilement. The mind feels free. The mind feels empty. It's burdened. And this is the happiness of the mind. Such happiness doesn't need to rely on the senses. It is the feeling, the sense of ease from the very core of this being. That is the mind. And no matter what we are doing, if the mind is at ease like this, then everything is happy. Breathing is a happiness. Working is a happiness. Eating is a happiness. Even cleaning the toilets is a happiness. Because the mind is happy. If we can clearly identify the mind and the feelings from the senses, then you will understand what I'm saying. The Buddha said, Natti Santi Paraman Sukhang, and nothing is happier than peacefulness. Santi, peacefulness. Sometimes it's another word for Nibbana. Such peacefulness is the complete absence of defilement. It's the ultimate peacefulness of Nibbana. When the mind is completely peaceful, then this is the highest happiness. It's not about the senses. All the sensual pleasures are impermanent, and they exist for just a very short while. Once we swallow the sushi, nothing left. But the happiness of the mind is different. If we can have a attainment in the holy path, the mind is liberated from the delusion, and we will not create sufferings for ourselves anymore. All the sufferings are created by us. We create all the cravings, and we regard such cravings as the source of our sensual happiness. But the cravings themselves are the suffering. The cravings burn the mind all the time, even when we are enjoying the sushi. Because once the cravings disappear from the mind, then we will not have any want towards that sensory object. We will not like to eat sushi. But because when we are enjoying these objects, we are not mindful. We are not mindful to the mind. We cannot separate the knower from the objects. The knower is deluded in objects and believing that it is enjoying something with the fire burning on itself. This is the reality. When our mind can be awake, then we can see this. Then we will enjoy the peacefulness of mind. We will enjoy doing nothing. We will enjoy the time without sensual pleasures. Simply sitting there and doing nothing, but be aware of the present moment. The mind is freed from the defilement. Try to find your time in your daily life. Simply let the mind have such breaks to do nothing and enjoy the present being. Being with awareness and being without defilement itself is the happiness. And if we are enjoying doing nothing, the awareness of non-doing like this, this is the food for Nibbana, for enlightenment. But when we are chasing for the sensual pleasures, for the ego, or self-image, reinforcement of ego, then we are these are the food for delusion. We are creating the ego, creating the whole world, creating the samsara. Samsara exists in our mind, not outside. It starts from our mind. Samsara means the cycle of birth and death. Be an humble knower to yourself. This body and this mind are just elements. The body is breathing, the mind is knowing, but you are nowhere. There's no you in the breathing and in the knowing. It is the body and the mind working, and not you. And sometimes there are thoughts, sensations interrupting to your knowing. Just know it. Actually, it is not interrupting the knowing. It is interrupting the feelings, the objects. But the knowing, the knowing is knowing. Just know the present object. Let them come, let them go. And naturally, the mind can only know one object in a moment. But sometimes it switches very fast. Then we have a wrong understanding and thinking that we are knowing two objects or more than two objects. But if we can simply live at the present moment, we know that everything that we know at a moment, they come and they go. They originate and they ceases away. And with every moment, everything restarts. Everything is new. And everything in this moment will completely disappear in the next moment. So the breathing and the knowing in your last moment doesn't exist anymore. They are in the past. And the present moment is keep on passing away like this. How many moments passed away in an in-breath and out-breath? Okay, time's up for today. Okay, number 10.
We will let Aaron answer first.
Okay.
Because he have to. Do you have to go to work tomorrow, Aaron? But he fall asleep earlier than me.
Uh,
You can go first. You go first.
I can go first. Yeah, I stopped listening any music today again, and my mind more calmer, and I'm more concentrated than yesterday. I discovered I'm not as concentrated when I'm doing meditation. This time I force a little bit myself more concentrating. The effect go better.
when we can relax 5 hindrances, then the concentration is a natural state. We don't need to do the concentration, but to give up the 5 hindrances. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
And what we perceive as concentration actually is kind of a unification of mind, unification of awareness. That means usually we are deluded by the restlessness, by the scattered mind. But when the mind gradually settles down, then the unification happens itself. The awareness is originally one. So we concentration, you can as an adjective describing the state, then this is right. But it's not an verb, it's not an action. When doing the meditation, concentration happens as a result of relaxation. Then this will be more balanced. If we start from a intentional concentration, and this creates a stress, emotional stress. Sometimes it's a kind of craving, sometimes it's kind of aversion. And aversion and craving are the hindrances, right? And this will make our mind kind of enter the samadhi. But we start from letting go, gradually relaxation, and then the 5 hindrances subsides, then the mind is naturally one. Just keep knowing and be patient and let it happen. This is what I guide in the meditation. Can you follow all the instructions?
I try my best. Follow one by one. I can never learn everything in 1 hour, but gradually getting more and more. Yes, I already have decreased a lot of entertainment than before, being honest. Sometimes I still have a craving if look at my phone or listening to my music. But the getting out of listening music, this habit is the easiest to me. The toughest I discover is news. I discovered sometimes you want to know what happened to the vaccine. When is this COVID going away? What else? I'm not really like to watch TV for honest, but my entertainment right now is reading. Reading and listening audio. Yes. I try to replace more stimulus entertainment to a more less stimulating entertainment. Gradually be a more quiet and simple life.
Why don't you use meditation as your hobby?
Oh, I have done some, but I cannot meditate 12 hours.
So when we are walking, we are meditating. We are eating, we are meditating. We're sitting, we are meditating. So different forms of meditation.
Oh, I will try. If I feel too boring of meditating, when I'm sitting, I try walking meditating then.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. Actually, when there is nothing more interesting than meditation, then meditation will be our greatest hobby. And then this will naturally be interested in doing more and more meditation, and be interested in observing more and more precepts and reflection on Dharma. It happens more and more. when the mind has got the taste of Dhamma, then it likes. It likes to do it. So let this happen. If we read, we can try to read something not disturbing our mindfulness, or something can increase our knowledge, something about Dhamma, like this, and this helps our practice.
I will start reading some Dhamma book. I do have some Dhamma book as a gift from Brenda. The Dhamma book written or voiced from Luang Por Kang Ha, and some book written by Luang Por Phira Dhammo. But Luang Por Phira Dhammo's book, he used very high class English. I think I will read the Chinese Dhamma book first. He asked me, "Oh, you should read some book." I say, if you have a Chinese version, Luang Por, I say, "Oh, you have to wait." The Singapore Dhamma friends, layperson, are doing translation of my books right now.
Okay, or you can simply read the book of the Buddha.
You mean the Vinaya?
Sutras. Actually, it's quite interesting sometimes. If we have more and nothing more interesting than this, then this itself would be more interesting. Actually, our perception for something to be interesting is it's built on a relative base. We are always comparing which one is more interesting. If we have we don't have too many choices, then we will naturally like the most interesting one. This is how it works, how the defilement works.
Okay, let me try to reading some sutra. I think I download apps about sutra. I know there's some interesting story between the conversation between the Buddha, the Tagava, and the Devas. They got a lot of interesting conversation about Dharma.
Yeah. Many parts of the Tipitaka is quite interesting.
I remember when I was grade 6, I read a lot of sutra. Now I'm not as dedicated as I'm used to be.
Yeah, our mind is impermanent. Yeah, okay. I will. This week I will try and read more sutra, and then next week I will tell you how's my performance. Yeah,
I have in mind.
Yeah. If we don't have any more sensually interesting options, then we will like this.
Indeed. Right, Ajahn. I totally agree with you.
Because the mind will naturally find something to like.
I delete YouTube music 2 weeks ago, Ajahn, because of you. This time I'm deleting YouTube as well. And some news app. Let's see how it works.
Sadhu.
The only thing I hold a YouTube page is because I got a YouTube channel to promote my business. But usually I just read the comment and reply the comment because that is part of my job.
That's fine. That's a work.
I should stop watching YouTube videos since a lot of them is not very nutritious. Nutritious both in knowledge and in mind. This time I do experiment. If I will enhance my ability of mindfulness because of less stimulation of Mgoi, and then I could be easier, mind unifying to be one, and to be more happier doing meditation.
Yes. Just try.
I'm willing to try. The life is too short. If I'm not trying, I will regret later.
Okay, good speech.
I'm a realtor. I'm born into this.
Okay. Okay. Nice.
Okay. Pardon, Ajahn?
Yeah. Do you have any other question? Other things?
No, I'm staying on this Zoom. I'm still editing video. I will mute myself.
Okay.
And then see you next week, Ajahn.
Okay. Or you may see me in the night.
I sleep very late.
Okay.
Usually I'm a night owl. 1 o'clock is usually I start fall asleep. I got a coffee today too. I got a lemon tea, so I think I'm still wide awake. I rather than just finish off some work, because I still got text message from Hong Kong customers asking about moving to Canada. I will answer their questions and then finish off editing video, and then I will go to sleep.
Okay.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Okay, nice work. Okay, number 7.
Hi, Ajahn. Thanks a lot for the second class. I think it's a little bit more smooth than yesterday's class, because it's the second time. I feel
Because you
more
understand English more than Cantonese.
Absolutely right. I think for English, yeah, I understand 90-95%. Only some terms, some special terms in Dharma, I don't really understand. I will Google it later. For I feel it's more relaxed in the beginning. It's very it's 11 o'clock in Toronto. It's around the evening time, and I feel a little bit sleepy. But later on, I feel like in the middle, all the stress goes away. All the stress goes away, and it's very my pressure are released, and then I feel like now I'm not sleepy anymore.
Yeah.
It's very good.
It is recharging. When I is pacified, then it actually takes rest. And when if sometimes if we don't have enough time to sleep, doing meditation has a better effect than sleeping. Say if we have only 1 hour left for the night, then doing the sitting meditation has a better effect than going to the bed. And with our practice, if we are more familiar with meditation, then this effect can be further increased. So it is good for both the body and the mind. It's worthy to practice. As I said, it is kind of daily cleaning job for our mental health. If we just leave our mind unclean for years, then all the rubbish accumulated in the house will have a lot of bacteria, cockroach, mouses, and then diseases will happen in the mind. Will be mentally ill. So it's very important to clean our mind every day. It's both beneficial for our body and the mind. So try to keep it as a habit. At the beginning, we don't need to sit long. Just 10 or 15 minutes is quite enough. At least before sleep, before lying down, we can just sit still and let the mind settle down. And when we are more skillful in meditation, and if you taste peacefulness, then you would like to do it longer, automatically.
Yes, I totally agree. Maybe in the future, I'll try to do more meditation just to keep my mind clean. Like I feel like in the nowadays modern life, many people they have pressure. Like I feel when you see the nerves, many people's nerves are very stressed, especially in the winter. They are depressed either because it's too cold or because the work is too much pressure. So sometimes the nerves are very stressed, and then when we little by little let it go and then release the stress of the nerves, and we don't feel that feeling of tiredness anymore.
And just try to do it. Then you will taste yourself.
All right. Thanks very much for the teaching.
Okay. And number 2. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too.
How is it?
It's
It has been a very nice meditation. I enjoy how you are describing, actually. In this way, the mind is more prone to follow and to give up at least part of the strain or the contractions that are inside. So
Yeah, that's true. If we can let the brain take rest and let the heart be open, then the 5 hindrances is quite difficult to arise. Because and the mind, the awareness, the mindfulness is much easier to maintain. And with the continuity of mindfulness, the mind will gradually settle down, become stable, and samadhi happens. Unification of mind happens. It happens naturally. But we simply need to know how to make it happen. We are not doing the samadhi. We are not creating the samadhi, but just let go the one effort of this person, the one attachment of this person. Relax it, and then it will recover. The mind will become naturally one. And this is what happens in our meditation. And if we become more and more skillful on this, then it'll become easier and easier. And sometimes you can jump the stages, make it quicker to happen. But the peacefulness of mind serves for the clarity, serves for the awakeness of the mind. That is to separate the knower from the objects. And after such separation, then we can observe things as they are in the perspective of the 3 characteristics of Dhamma. Right? And this is what meditation serves for. Peacefulness is not the goal, but peacefulness helps the cultivation of wisdom. And the purpose of our life is to cultivate the wisdom. When the wisdom increases, that means our mind improves, the mind grows. So everything happens. It's not more, nothing more important than this. This is the most important task we need to do in this life, and appreciate all the conditions that make this happen. Be grateful to everything that make this happen. We can sit here, we can listen to Dhamma, we can practice meditation, we can reflect on Dhamma. This is not that easy, right? And before the natural ending of our life, so just spend more time on this. It is worthy to do. Okay. And sorry.
Last week, you said that more or less the aim. I don't remember the words exactly, but the aim of our life is to train the mind. Why are we here? I mean, otherwise. And that has been that is very important for me as a reminder during the day, because it's so easy to go back to, or to just slip into all the habitual mental patterns.
Yes.
So just
Yes.
go thinking, or like that is a waking call.
And the reflection on questions like this will help the mindfulness and make us awake. When we think of the question of what is the meaning of life, or what is the most important thing we need to do, then we will record our understanding our most important task in this world, then this will sweep the doubts away. We will not be doubtful in our life. And then things will be clear. We'll be more concentrated in observing the precepts and practicing meditation, because we know what they are for and what we are doing for. This is very important. This will give us faith in our practice. Okay, sadhu. And number 3.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What I mean.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, I don't know really what to say today. It was quite the mind was very clear, following the instructions, and a little bit amazed of how the importance of relaxation, and just when letting the mind relax, it starts to just unfold by itself. It's like settles down in just looking. And
yes.
what's interesting in the end of the meditation, or I don't know when it was in the end, but anyway, at some point in the meditation, it was like, it was very clear, very open, and then starting to see the formation of how self-view like arise again and again, like grabbing something and coming, and then when seen, it was like letting go, and
yes. Relaxed.
yeah. And so the view of the computer comes into mind, or the view of the people come into mind, and then the self view automatically comes, and then falls away again, and maybe the thought of having to say something comes into mind, and self view arises and then falls away. It was just very
yes, it happens naturally because we are so used to this. We are so conditioned to this. And such kind of tension, attachment, a kind of clinging. This is what we call upadana, taking something as self. We try to have something as self. And this is the creation process of self. And all the defilement, the greed, aversion, and delusion follows this. This is the source of all sufferings. This is the avijja. We try to have something as self. And when our mind is clinging to something, and this is kind of limitation to our awareness. The mind is originally has no boundary, right? But once we hold on to something, then we fix ourselves into that thing. We think that this is me. Then we will stand on this point and look from this point. And this is the point of self, of atta. And all problems comes from here, from this wrong view. Actually, let go means relaxation, right? It's nothing different from the relaxing the muscles, relaxing the brain, relaxing the heart. But this time is relaxing. It's a relaxation of the attachment. Attachment is kind of tension. The mind try to hold something. It's kind of tension. And when we relax this tension, then the mind is at ease. That's it.
Can I ask something? Because the last few days, I had a home retreat, and it was unfolding quite okay, good, and so on. But then yesterday it was really the mind went into like a corner. Really, it was extremely painful. And I mean, I know this, I recognize this very well when the pain is like totally, it's totally raw in the heart area. It's very painful in the heart area. And part of the mind could see this, could see that this is happening, and could see also that it was due to like some kind of greed that something would change or happen, or aversion to what was happening, and so it could not do anything. It was just increasing, and knowing from before that the only thing is just to drop everything, actually to stop meditate, just do something else. But it was like if the mind could not do it, it was just wanting to go on, you know, could not drop it, and it was just painful and awful. Then
it's the case that it's not that the mind cannot do anything, but it's the mind cannot stop doing all these things.
No.
The mind is always doing, creating the material for the aversion to increase. That the mind is so tired in doing all these things. Keep on thinking the scenario that would make us become even more aversive. Right? This is what it is doing all the time. Then the way to go against is to relax, is to stop doing. And your way to go against is quite right. By doing something else, then we will stop doing the aversive thinking. That is a kind of helping us to relax from creating all those bad thoughts.
So it's to break. It's to
it's to break.
Change.
It's a skillful means help us to break from the aversive thinking. That's right. Sometimes we need such help, like doing some exercise, like taking a shower, and that will help us to move our attention to break our fixation to the ill will. Because the ill will create all the scenario for the aversion to grow continuously, and that's why it cannot be stopped. It just exists all the time. Existing is built on effort. If the mind is completely non-doing, then it cannot exist. It exists means that we are giving all the nutrition, providing nutrition all the time. That's why we'll be so tired after the creation like this, right? After the whole day thinking and aversion like this, we'll be so exhausted. Right? So doing something else to break the chain of thought is a right thing to do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Non-doing is not that easy, right? Because we are so used to doing all the time. That's why we need to practice to be non-doing. Okay. Number 19.
Good afternoon, Ajahn.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Today meditation was very focused. And pay a lot of attention to the bird chirping at Ajahn side. So yeah, that's all.
Are you tired?
No, not really.
But
Ajahn, morning I have 1 hour of own meditation. So I feel like very numb. I can focus throughout the section, but I feel numb yet. It's not relaxed. The mind is focused. I didn't force it. Yeah, I don't know.
But is awareness clear?
Yeah.
So you are knowing the present moment. right?
Yeah.
And when we are knowing the present object, try to be humble in knowing, just knowing as a tiny humble knower, and we don't create the self-image to be big. Don't create such knower to be something big. When we are knowing as a tiny knower, then it'll be more balanced. We are not thinking ourselves as a master, because this master thinking is everywhere. We continue to create such kind of self-image, and because we think that we are the house owner, we are the owner of this body and mind. So we are doing something on our property. This is very deep-rooted. If we know as a humble knower, and then we are knowing in relaxation, and it's the nature settles down the body and mind, and peacefulness comes as a natural result. It's not our effort. Rather, we are just to give up our own effort, and it is a rest for both the body and the mind. If we're doing this way, then after meditation we feel refreshed. Our mindfulness will be natural, and then because the knower is independent, is stable, then mindfulness becomes automatic. If it is like this, then you are doing right. And from this point, this perspective, then we can see everything happens in this body and mind as impermanent suffering and non-self. Through understanding of the reality, that the mind gradually let go. This is what we are practicing for. Okay, just a short summary for the whole whole path. Okay, just keep practice.
Thanks, Ajahn.
Okay, 17. Is the sushi delicious?
Yeah, I think today the meditation was quite good. I could hear and I could follow it, and it was like very direct. Yeah, thank you for the meditation.
Because I saw you cannot stop smile when you hear the word sushi.
This is quite unexpected.
Okay, that brings your attention to my guidance. Okay, nothing special, eh?
Okay, thank you.
And 11. Who is number 11? The 4-in-1 combination. Huh?
And I heard,
Can you come closer? Yeah.
like music from sure. Can you see? Is it okay? Can you hear?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Better.
Okay. When I was doing the meditation and I heard like music around, like and I think my mind was following the music instead of doing like the meditation. But I try to bring the my mind back, just like keep coming back and forth. And
Can you follow the
overall the
instructions?
meditation was half and half. Yeah, because I realized my mind was wandering, but I tried to bring it back, but it actually went somewhere else after.
Yeah. So when the mind is too strong, then we need to deal with it with stillness, the cultivation of stillness of the brain. So that's why I use with in the breathing to rest the brain. Just let the brain take a sleep, in the breathing, and do this intensively for a while. Then this will lower down the level of agitation. And when the mind is not that crazy, then the following will be easier. Sometimes when we are so crazy in the crazy mind, we can't do anything else, right? The mind just keep on going to somewhere else. So in this case, we need to make it still, make it cool down with the breathing. Just you can even try to concentrate on taking sleep, on the feeling of taking sleep of the brain. Just pay attention to the stillness of the brain, and do this in interval base, because we cannot continue concentration for too long time. So we can concentrate for a while and then relax, and then another interval. When the situation is too serious, then we can try this way. And after that, when it is more under our control, then we can let go more. Do you understand?
I think I will try maybe later. I'll just go back.
Yeah, you can try. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
And anything else? It seems that you are saying something.
Oh.
Nothing.
No, nothing.
No. Okay. Or maybe you can listen to the recording and try another meditation. So when we are doing the guided meditation, you can pay attention to the instruction as a primary object, and follow the instruction and do the meditation as a secondary object. You will not affect, if not influence our meditation. They can be mixed. They can fused in and working together. So just open the heart and follow the instruction and try. Just give it a try. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and who else? Number 5. Long time no see.
Yes. I would like to ask a question that get busy, so not long time no see. So I would like to ask the question that so you said that when you mentioned the 4th stage, there's a simple life at the first, right? So but usually for simple life, then you may have less suffering and less challenges. But I'm just wondering whether those challenges and sufferings led by some non-simple life would be, sometimes we need that for the practice. Yeah. So, and I observed that when say during the time that I don't have much challenges or sufferings, and that seems maybe that there's not much opportunities to like to for the practice. Yeah. Is it true or is it not? Or I have the misconception actually.
The simple life means make the intake of the impact to arouse the greed, aversion, and delusion. Make it simple. Is to reduce the level of greed, aversion, and delusion of the mind. So we deal with actions like this, and this is to simplify our life. It doesn't mean that we don't need to brush our teeth, we don't need to clean our house. This is simpler. This is laziness, and laziness aroused the delusion, the craving in the mind. This is on the opposite side. Simplifying the mind means simplifying the life means simplifying the mind. Reduce level of sensual enjoyment, and reduce thinking too much on something that is meaningless. And this is simplifying our life. So when we are simplifying our life, it doesn't mean that we should work less in the world. We still can work a lot and work for sacrificing to other people. This is a kind of simplifying our mind, because when we are thinking of doing for other people, we don't create a defilement for the mind, right? If we live the whole day in this state, our mind is simple, right? A complicated mind is a mind full of defilement, full of selfishness, full of laziness. This kind of mind is complicated. It's just like a house full of furnitures. These furnitures means a greed, aversion, and delusion, and all the attachments. If we have too much attachments, just like many furniture in our mental house, then every time we do the cleaning job, it's so difficult. We need to move everything from here to there, and then do the sweeping and mopping, and then move everything back to our original pace, right? This is a complicated mind. That means we have a lot of attachment. But if we work as kind of sacrificing to other people, as a way of giving, then it doesn't create a lot of any attachment to the mind. But when we are chasing for sensual pleasures, we are increasing the furniture, increasing our attachment. And this makes our mind much complicated. Agree?
Yes, to a certain extent. What I find is like, for example, when I take up the tasks to serve other people,
yeah,
the more I take up,
yeah,
sometimes there are some complicated problem aroused. I mean,
yeah,
some complicated practical problem you need to resolve, right?
yeah,
Like some logistic or other things. Then when those problems arise, then you need to think more. And then at the same time, because you feel that you have a sense of responsibility, and then you have a stress, you feel stressful. And those kind of like whenever those stress arise, and then you need to think to resolve, and then the consequence is that you think more. And then sometimes when I go back to meditation, I can't stop those thinking. That your brain just run more and more, and then this kind of stress from the responsibility, and then so I'm thinking whether need to strike a balance. Like for simple life, you can't just like
when we are thinking, we use the wisdom to solve the problem, but we don't need defilement to take place in solving the problem. So when sometimes the defilement is so subtle, and when we are thinking in a way with the greed and aversion at the background, sometimes we are doing this. Normally we are doing this actually, and we don't like the problems. We don't like the difficult situations. That is aversion already.
Yes.
So when we are thinking from this with this attitude, we are creating the stress to our mind. And after a long time thinking like this, the mind is exhausted. And if we simply like the job, like our work, we got thinking to solve the problem is a form of giving. It's a form of sacrificing giving our ability, helping other people. Just keep this positive intention in the mind, then the work will be different. The mind will not be exhausted from the work. Although the brain can be exhausted, but the mind is not exhausted. It's different. The mind is exhausted only by greed, aversion, and delusion, not by the work. So if you find that the mind becomes exhausted after the work, so you can observe the defilement in the work. Usually it's aversion, or sometimes it's craving. I want to do it better. I want to make it clearer. I want to manage everything under my control. This is craving. And sometimes it's aversion. I don't like the problem. This is troublesome. It shouldn't happen. And this is aversion. Yeah, and this is the reason makes the mind exhausted, not the work. So we try to observe this. When the mind starts to have such development, and we just try to let go it, and replace it with a positive attitude. We are to sacrifice. We are to give. We are not looking, expecting any return. So whatever it happens, let it happen. Whatever I can do to problem, just do it. If I cannot do it, just let go. And that's it. We don't have any stress to the mind, right? So in this way, we are living in a simple life. Do you understand? It's quite difficult, but the important point is to be mindful on the reactions of the mind. When we are working, we observe the reactions of the mind, because the defilement, the greed, aversion, delusion comes from here, not in the work, but in the mind. Okay.
But then when you take up the works, and sometimes you need to bring to, you need an analytical mind to resolve problems, to think of like some strategies, or think of like some effort to do the work to serve others. But can I say that the more you use your brain to think, then the less easy when you go back to meditation, you can stop your thinking.
If you think without delusion, or if you can balance your thinking work with some interval, some breaks of relaxation, then it will be better. So just like when we're training the muscle, in the training, in the exercise, we also need the break, relaxation. Right? We need to take enough rest. So that's why that's in the same way, the way we use our brain, just like a muscle, muscle in the brain, and we need to preserve it, preserve the health of it. It should not be overused. It should have break to relax, to balance. Otherwise, you'll have some problem. So try to find some breaks in the work, like when we go into the toilet, or when we're drinking water. Try to come back to mindfulness, the present moment, to relaxation. And when we are more skillful on this, sometimes such relaxation will happen automatically during the work. When we don't need to utilize the brain too much, then it's suddenly relaxed. If we can do this, then the brain is in healthy state. One day, if we find that we can use the brain, but we cannot stop the brain, then you have some problem.
Okay, understand. Okay, thank you very much, Ajahn.
15.
Ajahn? Again, I don't have much.
Nothing to report. Okay, just say something you like.
Happy New Year to Ajahn and everyone else, and Longbo.
Yeah, okay. Sadhu. Okay, can you follow the instruction today? How many percent?
40.
40. That's not bad. just take it as kind of listen to the Dhamma talk, just like listening to the Q&A session. We don't need to intentionally restrict our mind into the activity, so-called meditation. The mind is open, then it is flexible. It can be used in different areas. Okay. Okay, so 16. Hello, Miss 16.
Hello.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry. Last week, I found my mind jumping to and fro. Sometimes my mind is full of aversion, and I was aware of this, and then I know my breathing. I knew my breathing, and then sometimes distraction happen, and I knew my breathing again. Just doing it alternatively, jumping to and fro. Yeah. In this condition.
Do it without resistance to the emotions. Sometimes we'll do this in a kind of refusing the emotions because we don't accept, where we will become aversive. We think that this is something bad, and practitioners should not be angry. This is wrong view. We should face what it is happening as it is. To be honest, this is a practitioner should do. The right attitude. But we simply know it. When we simply know that the anger, the aversion in the mind, then we are safe actually. The aversion cannot control us. But when we are not knowing, when we are not mindful, then we are under the control of the emotions. But once we are mindful, then no problem, just know it. Just let it happen. If it continues, just let it continue.
Yeah.
But we don't take part in it.
Yeah.
And this is the right way to do.
Yeah.
And then we can learn from it. And this is more important than coming back to the breathing and make the mind become peaceful. Because all these are the lesson for the cultivation of mind.
Yeah.
The mind will grow from all these lessons. The growth is a growth in wisdom, not in peacefulness.
Yeah.
This is more important.
I thought strong emotions may I may not do the right thing. So when I come back to the breathing, I want my mind to be relaxed and think clearly about the situation and what I should respond to the situation in a more sensible way.
The way we need to do to the situation, and not to withdraw back from the situation and make our mind peaceful and then come to it again. Don't think in this way. Just open to it. Just know it. Just as the way we know the knee pain in our meditation. So we just open to it.
You mean open to the situation?
Yes, open to the situation. Open to the problem. No fear.
Okay.
And because when we are awake, then nothing can hurt the mind.
Okay.
Only the greed, aversion, and delusion can hurt the mind.
Mm-hmm.
But once we know that there is the aversion in the mind, and this aversion becomes feeling, becomes object, and the mind at the present moment is not aversive; it's knowing.
Knowing
It is
the
knowing the
aversion,
past, past aversion. Do you understand?
What do you mean by past aversion?
Because when aversion happens, and this moment and next moment when the mind is mindful, then at this moment we are not creating aversion, right? But the aversion in the past moment will have have some feelings in this person. Then sometimes you feel tightness in the chest. Sometimes you feel body becomes hot or become angry. These already become feelings. This is not the mind already. It comes from the aversion from the mind, but now it becomes a feeling. But when we are knowing all these feelings at this moment, the mind is mindful. It's not aversive.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we are doing the right thing at this moment already, at the present moment. But the karmic force of the past anger is still there, still have some effects and give us unpleasurable feelings. The effect is still there. But what we are doing at this moment, at the present moment, is right, is mindfulness.
Yeah.
So just be patient and keep this mindfulness on.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else who want to say something for the new year? If not, then we should end the session here.
So before we end it officially, let us bow 3 times all together to the triple gem in our usual way. Ajali Vandana, Abhivandana. Ajali Vandana, Abhivandana. Ajali Vandana, Abhivandana. Ajali Vandana. So thank you very much and Happy New Year and hoping to see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.